Thanks, Rachel, and thanks everybody for being here on a wonderful Monday after a great weekend for Purdue athletics. And it's always fun to be on the road, but be able to watch Purdue football play the way they played on TV, and know that the basketball season is here now, and the excitement that we have both for Katie Gerald's squad and, of course, Matt Painter's team is getting all the hype that they need. So it'll be fun, and what a football game. So we're excited about that. We had a good road trip to the East Coast. We played Maryland on Friday, and I thought they played at a high level, and we were fortunate to come back and win a couple of those sets, or it could have been a longer trip. And then after a day off, we went into Rutgers. And I was just telling Rachel this, it's always tough when you play a team early in the season and you just bury them. I mean, we just really beat them bad when we played them the first time. And then you have to play them again. And it's a challenge for your players to really be engaged the way they need to be. And then Rutgers came out like a house on fire against us, serving the ball tough, taking big swings, good blocking scheme, just really did a lot of good things against us. And but fortunately, we got really good play from, I thought Grace Cleveland had a big match for us against Rutgers. Emma Ellis had a coming out party on the East Coast this weekend, played at a very, very high level. And we just played tough, which is what you have to do in those situations. So really excited about that. Do want to congratulate our high school teams from the area. I can't get into a lot of specifics because the NCAA doesn't like that, but when you have a niece that's involved, you're paying attention at a high level, and I'm always paying attention. But to have two teams from this county win state championships was tremendous for anybody that's involved in athletics in this area, this community. It seems like there's kind of a seismic shift in the landscape of the state volleyball right now, and for those that love volleyball, that's a good thing. So happy for the coaches, the players, the families to be able to enjoy that, whether they won the championship or whether you're a school from a nearby county that finished runner-up after a fifth-set loss. It's still a great opportunity to compete at that level, and I know they had a great experience. So congratulations to them. This weekend we will be on the road going north to Madison for a rematch with the Badgers, which we know they'll be ready for. And then we'll play Minnesota for our only time this year. And Minnesota probably is playing as well as anybody in our league right now. Not to take anything away from Wisconsin, but I think Minnesota's won 5 in a row, and 4 of those have been against top 25 teams. So a real challenge, an exciting opportunity for our team. And if we want to accomplish the kind of things that we're determined to do, then this is the kind of weekend you've got to go out and play well. So with that, who's got the mic? Tim, go ahead.
Dave, you mentioned the success that the other sports have had. Can you talk about how that momentum builds? The players all know each other. A lot of them live together. But when one sport does well, the cumulative effect that has on other sports here.
Well, I think it's always nice to see firsthand people that you know have that kind of success. I mean, J.L. Johnson's boyfriend is Aiden O'Connell. And so, we keep pretty close tabs on what's happening with football. We about have to. And to see him spin the ball for what was a 575 yards. Okay, that was pretty impressive. Here's a guy that was a walk-on initially that came in here, and nobody thought the guy could play. What an unbelievable story that is. If that doesn't, motivate you, nothing will. And so, it is exciting to have success. And, Mike Babinski talked about that when our whole athletic department met to start the year, that, last year was a bad year. It was just a bad year for Purdue athletics. And that's on all of us to change that. And so, fortunately, soccer, volleyball, football, I think have gotten the ball rolling and have had pretty good success, relatively speaking. And but there's a lot to be done still. I know that soccer, the draw is today. We wish them the best, that they have a opportunity to advance deep into the tournament. We have 3 weeks of Big Ten play before the NCAA tournament, and of course, football is now bowl eligible, which is a great thing to say, bowl eligible. And how many people in the Purdue community look forward to that. And so congratulations to Coach Brom and his team. And the defensive effort by our football team is amazing compared to what we saw a year ago. I just think it's remarkable that the coaching change has come in. And I know Coach Brom has been involved in that as well firsthand. He's been right in the mix with that. So a lot of good things are going on. So how it affects the players, I just know that it's great for Purdue. It's hard to manufacture the scene that we saw at Ross-Ade unless you're beating somebody really good. And so those are the things that I think Purdue fans will remember forever. If you were here, it's kind of like the Ohio State. I got to see the Ohio State game a few years ago. I was there, and I was on the field. And you won't forget that. So I know that the people that were there on Saturday afternoon for the win over Michigan State will remember that for a long time.
Back to your team for a minute. Emma Ellis really seems to have come on the last couple of weeks. What switch has flipped, or what's gone right for her here lately?
Well, that's a great question, but she's just found a dose of confidence. I think she got tired of not playing, to be honest. And after a match prior to the Northwestern-Wisconsin week, she hadn't played. She hadn't played in a couple of matches. And we came back. We were somewhere. We got back late from somewhere. Maybe it was a bus from Illinois. I can't remember where it was, but we came back late. And I got a text about 3 in the morning from Emma. Coach, can I talk to you in the morning? And so I had to find out, okay, in the morning, are you talking about, okay, I talk to you tomorrow in the morning. Well, I didn't know if that meant another day or if that meant on Sunday because we got back late. But anyway, we had a good chat on that next day and just helped her understand that I don't really care who plays in that spot where we've had the 3 really good kids competing. But someone's got to take it over. And to this point in time, nobody has actually taken ownership. They play well for a match, and then maybe the next match they're just so-so. And what we need is somebody to take over the position and not look back. And I don't care who it is. And then the other 2 just have to be willing to come in and play well when they get the opportunity to. And then maybe it'd be their chance again. But she has exploded onto the scene in these last 4 matches. She was significant against Wisconsin in that win. And we don't beat Maryland without her. I mean, she was the game changer for us. She was just unbelievable against Maryland. And that continued at Rutgers. So, you're thinking, well, it was just Maryland and Rutgers. Those are the toughest matches to win sometimes. When you go on the road and you're playing a team that just can't wait to beat somebody that's ranked and get some exposure. A win for Maryland over us would have put them in the NCAA tournament, because they're 18-6, but they don't have significant wins. That would have put them in the tournament. So they were playing their tails off. But Ellis just refused to let us lose. She just comes through at all the right times. So it was great for her, and not just her offensive skills. Her blocking is good. She's making plays off the net. She brings enthusiasm. So it was great to see, and hopefully she's on a mission and will continue to trend upward.
At this point in the season, do you have to alter your practice schedule? Do you cut things back when you get late in the year like this?
Well, we really do, and of course, it's affected to some extent that with these Sunday matches that we play, we have to take day off, and we'd like to take Sunday. We'd like to play Saturday and have Sunday off, and that gives us our day off for that week. But when we play Sunday, we have to take Monday off, so we get one less really training day to get ready for the weekend. In this case, it's a Friday match with Wisconsin. So. But yeah, we got to get a lot done, but we definitely are pulling back on the amount of time we're in the gym, the amount of jumps, the amount of swings that each player is getting. You've got to watch a player like Caitlin Newton, who gets a lot of reps in, and you've got to get her out of some drills, even though she doesn't want to get out. She wants to be in there all the time. So you have to keep a close eye on that. We have what's the device, Rachel, we've got that kids wear those jump vert. They're called verts, And what it is there's you put them in your waistband, or you put them around a belt, and every time you jump, it measures what your jump is. So it goes into a computer software, and so we know how many times Grace Cleveland jumped, how high she jumped on each time, and is she going down as the season goes on with those jumps in practice. And they wear them for matches as well. So we get a correlation between this is how she's jumping in practice, this is how she's jumping in matches. So it's nice to have that. I mean, I feel like you can see that usually by watching, but it's also nice to have some scientific evidence of that as well. But yeah, that's something I think all coaches have to be aware of, no matter what sport they're involved in, to kind of pull back the reins a little bit as you get to this point in the season.
Thanks for your time today, Coach.
Yes.
I want to piggyback off of that a little bit. You've used a lot of technology this season to help your team. Has stuff like the jump metric thing helped change your lineup in any way going into these bigger games?
No, I don't think that would affect that a whole lot. If we had the flexibility to play teams that we were confident that we could beat on a regular basis, you might be able to rotate some players in, and if you have somebody like Newton that's getting, 150 jumps a match, you might want to try to play somebody for her to keep her fresh. But we don't have that kind of luxury in our league. And I hope people understand that. And same reason why it's so hard to, Taylor Trammell is the second leading blocker in the Big Ten right now. Second leading blocker in the Big Ten, was the third leading blocker in the country last year. She hasn't played for 4 matches. And so, why? Well, Raven Colvin was playing really well. J.L. Johnson got healthy and came back, and those guys gave us both an emotional and physical lift. I probably should have got her in a little bit against Rutgers, in retrospect. But it's just hard to do what you're talking about, because winning is crucial. You have to win if you want to meet those goals of getting a good seed in the NCAA tournament, because it's like we played Rutgers and we beat Rutgers, and it was a tough, gritty win. Didn't help our RPI, because we take their record, which is not a great record in overall, and that kind of actually had a negative impact on our RPI, where the Maryland win actually helped us because they were 18-6. So there's all those things that are going through your mind. But yeah, it's nice to have the scientific research to help you know what's happening. And our strength coach, Aaron Broque, communicates weekly with us on what's happening with that. So it's nice.
You guys are playing 4 games on the road this last weekend, then you going to Wisconsin and Minnesota. How do you approach that from a mindset of we're not in our comfortable environment for these past 2 weeks?
Well, a couple of things. One, we don't look at it that way, first of all. And we just take everything one day at a time. We're not thinking about where we're going to be on Friday. We're going to take the day off today, and they're going to rest, and hopefully they'll find their iPad and they'll start watching some tape, so they'll be ahead of the curve a little bit when we start talking about Wisconsin again tomorrow. And then we'll practice on Tuesday, and we'll focus on practice. Then we'll focus on practice again on Wednesday. I'm not sure if we're here or up there practicing on Thursday. But if you get ahead of yourself and start thinking about some of those kind of things, you're kind of putting yourself in a bad way. And something else, and I may have shared this once before, Tim would know this, Devin Browse, who's a long-time successful NCAA champion golf coach here at Purdue, 2 seasons ago with COVID, we got to play a lot of golf, and a lot of the coaches were playing and so forth. And we went out one time to Coyote Crossing, and at Coyote Crossing Golf Course, there's a hole out there that just eats me alive. It's got a creek that runs through it about 210 yards out, and it just gets into my head. And I was talking to him about, boy, I don't like this hole. And he said, Coach, he said, I got to talk to my players all the time about that. I said, you have to love every course, love every hole. And so I took that advice, and now with our team, every time we go somewhere, I want them to go in and meet people, meet the ushers, meet the people that are there greeting us, and say thank you, and just embrace that facility and not look at it kind of like what you talked about, being uncomfortable in a foreign territory, but go in there and think, man, this is, so every time I go, we were at Rutgers, which most people might think is one of the toughest maybe the worst conditions to play in. Then it's not that bad. I kind of like the place, but people would say it. So I go in there talking about how great it is. Rutgers men's and women's basketball teams used to play in here. They've won national championships in this facility. This is a great place to play. I'd love to play in here, make this my home venue. And so we want to have that kind of a mentality when we go on the road, not look at it as like, well, this is going to be a tough place to play.
Last one for me. You guys had a surprise visitor, I think. Was it Rutgers when Julie Chen showed up?
Joy
Chen. Sorry.
Yeah, Joy. Yeah, that was fun.
Was that just like a planned thing, or did she?
Wasn't planned by anybody
and
except Joy Chen.
So,
yeah.
Did that give your team a boost?
Joy and her parents. Joy, played for us for a couple of years. Graduated from Purdue University in 2 years, and now is at I think New York. Where is she at right now?
I'm not sure.
University of New York. What's it called out there? And yeah, I think that's where she is right now, doing great. And so on the East Coast trip out there, her mom and dad happened to be visiting her, and so they drove down to surprise her classmates, which now are Mo Horning and Terwilliger and Grace and that group that are all seniors right now. So it was a real surprise. They did not know it was coming, so it was kind of neat. Yeah.
Dave, I got a couple questions. Start with one strictly related to Purdue. And Jenna Otech, obviously, last year was solid the entire season, and the honors after the season kind of were merited. But
yeah.
You just kind of, I think, naturally think the player comes in the next year and they're automatically better, and sometimes it takes some time to get going. And it seems like for her there was a little bit of a struggle there or some lull, and now she kind of seems to be back. How big of a boost has it been to see her kind of returning to form a little bit?
Well, Sam, I thought that she's been pretty good all along, to be honest with you. We were rotating the libero position, so that might affect, her numbers. Every other match she was playing DS versus libero, and then when Mo was out for about 4 matches, then that kind of, changed the way we were doing things, and now Mo's still not 100%. I mean, she's still playing as hard as she can play, but nobody works harder in our program than Jenna Otech. Nobody is in the gym more than Jenna Otech. So she loves volleyball. She loves to train. And because of that, you're going to see her get better. And there's a direct relationship to the amount of time that you're in the gym to how much better you get. I mean, that's something a lot of people need to understand. And now she's limited to how often a coach can be with her in the gym, because you're 4 hours a day or 20 hours a week. There's NCAA rules. But she can be in there with a manager with a machine firing balls at her or hitting balls at her, or a teammate hitting balls at her. And she's in there all the time because she's never satisfied with how good she is. And the 30-some digs she had against Maryland, some of those were just amazing plays that she made. And the libero position is a very stressful responsibility, because you're receiving serve, you're playing defense, you got to be a great server, you're on the floor, you get a short break every 1/12 of the match. You get out of the match a little bit while somebody serves, middle blocker goes back to serve. The rest of the time you're on the floor, and it's a heavy load, and I think the more mature you become, the better you can handle that position.
And then unrelated to Purdue, obviously I was in Muncie on Saturday, and your dad's name is sprinkled all over that gym. He was there. Steve got a standing ovation. It lasted, it seemed like 5 minutes when they announced all the state championship coaches.
Yeah.
When you're growing up, are you kind of aware of, just how big your last name is in volleyball, but specifically in the Muncie area?
I don't know about when I was growing up, but once I got older, I mean, I think that there was a knowledge that my dad was in the World Hall of Fame for volleyball coaches, and Steve, as you mentioned, won 21 state championships. Really was voted as the most successful high school coach in the history of Indiana sports, for any sport. So that's a pretty good honor when you think about how many people have coached in Indiana sports. So, I think it's just something that you're proud of. I don't think you think about it a whole lot, but I wish I could have been there on Saturday, but it would have been irresponsible for me to leave beautiful New Brunswick, which is a nice town, by the way, and lead my team and come back here to be part of that deal. I would have liked to have seen that. I did watch the video of Steve's presentation. That was neat. And so great that my dad could see his granddaughter win a state championship there in his gym that he had a lot to do with as far as the development of those things. Yeah.
think there are some people that disagree with your assessment of New Jersey, but just last thing, I was talking to somebody at the semi-state round, and they were mentioning, because as you mentioned, your niece was playing, they said John Shondell had the fastest hands they'd ever seen. Can you kind of just talk about him as a player and what it was like to watch him? Because clearly he had a lot of individual and team success as a player, and that's sprinkled down to the way he's trained players in your program, all the way down to
Yeah, I mean, well, John's a unique character. I mean, he's very selfless, and he was a great athlete growing up. I mean, when I say great athlete, he didn't have great speed, great foot speed. He was one of those guys that just had a great eye-hand coordination, was a great competitor, had grown up with, he was 12 years younger than me, 15 years younger than my brother Steve. So he grew up watching a lot of athletics, and he was always on the basketball floor, the ball diamond, when he was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. And so I think he just got a lot of that from just experience. But he was a great baseball player, was a left-handed pitcher that played his first year at Ball State University and was a great pitcher. Leading scorer in the city in basketball at Burroughs High School. And thinks he's a great golfer too, but I think he moves the ball around a little bit too much when people aren't watching. But he's a tremendous coach, and we are extremely fortunate to have him. And the thing he does really well, Sam, is that he relates so well to people of all ages. And he doesn't care if he thinks when he's coaching 10 and unders, it's every bit as important as coaching at Purdue. There's no difference. And those kids believe that that's the most important thing in the world that's going on. So this community is very lucky to have him. When I talk about a seismic shift in volleyball from one part of the state to the other, he has the most to do with it. Yep.
All right, we're all set.
All right, thanks, guys. Boiler up.